backyard quality to his game. That doesn't mean he's a guy that, can't operate in structure. That doesn't mean he's a guy that can't operate from the pocket. He's obviously a very good processor because that's something that impressed Sean even before they drafted him. But he still has what I have referred to as a backyard quality. And I describe that as we've all, as kids, gone out in the backyard and played ball, and you go down and maybe you go behind the oak tree and you hide and the DB can't see you, and then you pop back out and the quarterback's running around. He's got a little bit of that. And so I think the marriage between the two is trying to meet each other sort of in the middle, to where it's not too much of that, but it also, from Sean's perspective, it's not Sean taking away that quality from Bo's game that really allows him to make a whole bunch of plays.
All right, we are back. Broncos country. Dave Logan is back after winning his 13th state championship. Congratulations, Dave. And then also, you were in Vegas and you got an award, right?
Well, I actually got to attend the National Football Foundation banquet, and I was asked to do a little something there. Coach Saban was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Coach Meyer, Urban Meyer. So it was really a cool event. Now it's way too long.
How many hours?
Man, let me tell you. I mean, it's like, it's a really cool event, but I remember what Sam Rutigliano, my head coach in Cleveland, once told me, and it didn't make a lot of sense as a player, but as I've gotten a little bit older and now into coaching and broadcasting, it makes sense. He said, the mind will retain what the seat can endure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Yeah.
already know. So
Yeah.
it was a cool event, but good Lord, it went forever.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, those types of banquets or long events. It's
That's
like
right. That's right.
Let's shorten this down. No different than sometimes where they put a meeting on your calendar and you're like, this could have been an email, but that's neither here nor there. The Broncos.
How about the Broncos?
Have continued to win their 11th straight win. They win a great game against the Green Bay Packers. And it's been incredible to see these guys. And if I had to describe this game in one word, this would be the maturity game. This was a mature Broncos team. And when I say that, I am talking about the ebbs and flows of the game and not getting too high, not getting too low. My brother always talks about the fact that when the game dies down, it's just football. Or when the emotion dies down, it's just football. And when the emotion of the 9-4 Packers come in here and the Broncos got this win streak, they just played football, and they played great football, complimentary football. And it was just good to see. Dave, what are your first initial thoughts and impressions of the game?
Yeah, I thought it was two good teams. Two really good teams.
Yeah.
That I thought there was give and take. There were times where at the start of the third quarter, the Packers take 3 plays and go the length of the field and score. And all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, that's 23-14. The Broncos offense has to get something going here. They go 3 and out, punt the ball, and then Pat Surtain has a big interception in that ensuing series. But, as you said, it was complimentary football. I thought the offense, the defense, I thought was better in the second half. I thought they really sort of tightened things down. And I thought I want to talk about the offense, but the defense, the interior pressure with Malcolm Roach, with DJ Jones, with John Franklin Myers, Inyomo Wazirike played some, but they got interior push on that Packer front. You're going to get edge pressure all the time.
Right.
I thought the pressure from the inside part of that defense was really good. And then, listen, I thought, Bo Nix did some things yesterday where you kind of just sit and look and scratch your head and say, wow, okay.
Yeah.
He made some off-schedule plays that we have seen other elite guys make over the course of their careers, but he made 3 or 4 of them yesterday that were big time.
Yeah, I think Bo played extremely well. The defense played extremely well. We could just start with the defense. You know, we have to give some credit, especially to Matt LaFleur and in the Green Bay offense. Josh Jacobs is a great running back. He ends up making a really good catch. Christian Watson, they have a receiver by committee type of room. You know, they don't have anybody that's just going to be the number one. But, you know, Christian Watson, you know, a really good player. Jaden Reed, really good player. Dotson, a really good player. And then Jordan Love can make all the throws. And I thought they were getting what they wanted. And Matt LaFleur knows how to dial up some plays right there. And I thought Jordan Love made some really good plays. What do you actually think changed in the second half for them to slow down the defense? Slow down that offense, Packers offense.
I thought a couple of things. I thought the Broncos did a good job on first down. When the Packers tried to run the ball in the second half on first down, they had a lot of penetration.
Yep.
The Broncos did. Disrupted the run game some. I also thought that they had 3 sacks in the game, but they had countless numbers of pressures.
Yeah.
And I thought even on Pat Surtain's pick, if you go back and look at that play closely, Jordan Love has to move in the pocket to avoid pressure, slide to his right, which in and of itself is not a big deal. NFL quarterbacks do that all the time. But then he wanted to gather and throw the ball deep, and I thought he, because of that interior pressure, had to rush that throw just a little bit. He underthrew that route. Watson's got a step on PS2, and Pat's so good at recognizing the ball in the air and then closing on a ball. If you underthrow that even a little bit, number 2 is going to get it, and he did.
Yeah, we talked about it on the post-game show, and they were like, some of the guys upstairs were saying, hey, I don't even know why you would throw at Pat Surtain. I was like, actually, that play was actually really well designed. That was Green Bay was going for the dagger, and you have your fast receiver.
They're up 9, right?
Yeah, and you have your fast receiver on Pat Surtain, who's also fast himself, but Watson's got a different gear, and if he doesn't have that pressure in his face, that could be a touchdown. But you talk about Pat Surtain, his ball skills, that obviously that play changed the game completely. It's good to see the Broncos get those 2 interceptions from their 2
first
starting
2 of
quarters.
the year.
Yeah.
Stop to think about
12
that,
and
right?
2.
Yeah.
And you're just getting your first
14th
interception.
game, and your both corners get their first interception. So, yeah, I think, and on Moss's interception, again, I think it was a byproduct. I mean, they're playing, I believe they're playing 1 free in that situation. And, I mean, the receiver, by NFL standards, is open.
Yeah.
Riley's a step and a half, coming across the middle behind the receiver, but the ball was behind the receiver. Mm-hmm. And the reason I would say the ball was behind it, that was an effect that interior pass rush and the outside guys too were starting to have on Jordan Love.
Yeah.
They got unbelievable pressure in the second half, and I thought they made him very, very uncomfortable in the pocket.
100%. I talked about it in the pregame show that to win games like this and to continue to win throughout the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs, you have to be able to adapt and adjust. And I thought Vance Joseph, again, adapted and adjusted. It's okay, they're doing this really well in the first half. We're playing this shell coverage. We're playing a little bit off. And then they adapt and adjust at halftime and then come out and shut the Packers down. I think that is what championship teams are made of, the ability to adapt and adjust in real time and make these halftime adjustments and for them to stick and for the players to be on the same page. Brandon Jones goes out, and then P.J. Locke steps in. You talk about the depth. Things like that are also very important when you think about Super Bowl teams and championship teams.
Yeah, I mean, depth is critical. PJ's proven that he's a good player, really good player, and a valuable guy. And now, I mean, we'll see with Brandon how long that injury is going to sideline him. I thought one other thing was really important for the Broncos. The defense, they were really good in the red zone.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the Packers got there, I think, 4 times, 3 field goals and a touchdown. So if when an opponent crosses your 20-yard line, if you can make that team line up for a field goal, that is such a huge win in the National Football League. And the Broncos, I mean, they have the best red zone defense in the league, and I thought it showed up big time yesterday.
That carries over into January and February for sure. Any favorite plays that really stick out to you defensively besides the Pat Surtain or Riley Moss interception? Well, before we even go to that, thoughts on Riley Moss and the way he played. I thought it was a bad call, his pass interference call. I thought there was just a lot of hand fighting. But now the bias is starting to be in there, and they are picking on him now.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that flag was thrown. And it was thrown by the back judge.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that kind of – and again, if you go back at it and you slow it down frame by frame, does Riley reach out and grab the receiver's arm a little bit? He does. And so I think some people would say, well, that clearly is impeding the receiver in his route. But the reality of it is that kind of thing and much, much more happens a lot. There's all sorts of hand fighting with receivers and DBs, when they're side by side and that ball's in the air. Yeah. So I don't believe that any reasonable NFL official could go back and look at that play and say, oh absolutely.
Yeah.
That's PI. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. So I think that is a non-call. I think part of it is Riley has earned the reputation in the league for being a handsy guy at the corner spot. And you know what? Officials are human. They read things, they hear things, and sometimes even if they don't mean to acknowledge it in that way, it's just human nature. You reach for that flag. But I did not think that was a PI.
Yeah, terrible call. But shout out to Riley for continuing to play. And somebody, you have to have a strong mindset just as a DB in general because of how things can happen. And I think he has been steadfast throughout this entire season and continue to play with confidence, continue to play physical, and not letting things – I mean, he could easily got in his head and, not taking himself out of the game, but you lose your confidence right there, and he has not done that throughout the entire year.
Hey, DNVR fam, it is the holiday times, and during the holidays, one of the most important things is to get all the people you care about and yourself a little gift. And why not do it at Dick's? Why not stop at Dick's for your sporting goods and your hottest apparel on footwear from top brands like Nike, Adidas, Originals, FP Movement, and also DNVR. So at your local Dick's Sporting Goods, you can go get some DNVR gear, and that is the best place to shop for all sporting gears. I love shopping at Dick's Sporting Goods. I get a lot of my Nike gear from there. I am always trying to be in Nike. Nike's my favorite brand. So the Jordans I wear, the Air Force Ones I wear, Dunks, I am going to Dick's to get that gear. So whatever sport you play, whatever gear you need, whatever season it is, Dick's has got you covered. They've got great locations across the state. Get your gear first, fast, with curbside pickup at your nearest store or easy shipping from Dicks.com because every season starts at Dick's. Hey, DNVR fam, I know you have seen Bo Nix on those Int Credit Union commercials. You've heard us talk about Int Credit Union and their Broncos checking product and all of the awesome perks it comes with, like game day discounts at Empower Field, the chance to win Broncos tickets, and exclusive merch. Well, now they are piling on even more perks. For those who are interested in signing up, they're giving you $200. Yes, $200 will drop right into the account after meeting just a few easy requirements. And the debit card that comes with it, fine. You can rock the Broncos branded one, a Bo Nix one, or you got PS2 on the throwback card, which will now be available at service centers starting on December 1st. They're almost like collectibles. So with the playoff push heating up, now is the time to lock it down. The perks, the card, the $200. If you're ready to bank like a Bronco, head over to int.com/DNVR to learn more. Insured by NCUA. Membership required. Account requires associated Int Broncos debit card. Requires $100 deposit and activation of the debit card within 30 days of account opening.
Let's shift to the offense, man. Bo Nix, 303 yards passing, 4 TDs, 0 turnovers. I would say his last 4 games, and especially the last 3 weeks, he is playing the best at the quarterback position in the NFL right now. Am I wrong?
Man, I hadn't thought about that.
Only Stafford in there, but Stafford had that bad game against Carolina, so he has a loss in there. But the last 4 games, Bo has obviously won. I think he's got 6 touchdowns, 1 interception over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this coming down here. I think there's an interesting kind of marriage between, and you and I have talked about this before, between Sean Payton and Bo Nix. And Sean likes a guy that operates, that processes, that operates from the pocket. You know, he'll make some plays with his feet, but it's, you know, 1 read, 2 reads, 3 reads, you know, very sort of, if I use the word regimented, then that could be perceived as a negative. And I don't mean it as a negative with respect to Sean. But he's got an idea of what he wants his quarterback to look like. Bo, and I said this earlier this season in one of the games, Bo has a backyard quality to his game. That doesn't mean he's a guy that, you know, can't operate in structure. That doesn't mean he's a guy that can't operate from the pocket. He's obviously a very good processor, because that's something that impressed Sean even before they drafted him. But he still has what I have referred to as a backyard quality. And I describe that as we've all, as kids, gone out in the backyard and played ball, and you go down and maybe you go behind the oak tree and you hide and the DB can't see you, and then you pop back out and the quarterback's running around. He's got a little bit of that. And so I think the marriage between the two is trying to meet each other sort of in the middle, to where it's not too much of that, but it also, from Sean's perspective, it's not Sean taking away that quality from Bo's game that really allows him to make a whole bunch of plays. I mean, when they're down 9 after the Surtain interception, go back and look at that next series. I mean, he pinballs around, looks like he's going to escape right, stops, escapes left, and throws across his body to little Jordan Humphrey for a first down.
It's a crazy play.
It's absolute, by NFL standards, it's really insane.
Yeah.
Right? But we've seen it. That's not the first time, won't be the last time. We've seen him do that a lot, and I think that's a quality and a beauty of Bo's game that they're just still trying to figure out how to embrace.
Yeah, I think it's a hard thing to coach, because that is a natural ability. That is an instinct thing. He's got to be the best quarterback right now in the NFL, rolling out and throwing to his left. I mean, every time he throws to this left, I'm like, that's a really dangerous throw. And those are his most accurate throws. Yeah, that play to little Jordan Humphrey was incredible. He looked very poised. He looked very comfortable. You talked about this early on in the season, too. When I'm watching the game on TV, he has these moments where they're down 9 or down 1 or up 1 or whatever it may be, where he's laughing and smiling like there's nothing going on. Like, oh, like this isn't a big game, like, or this isn't a big deal. And I think that comes back to him being a coach's son, and then also playing elite and high-level football in the SEC. Because these moments don't seem too big for them. I was talking on the post-game show about this team. It's like they're almost a little naive to actually what's going on right now, which is a good thing. When I was on the Super Bowl team, I didn't think anything of it at that time. But when I look back on it, there's a ton of pressure. Peyton's in his last year. These guys don't notice the streak. You know, it might be in their mind a little bit, but they're not like, oh, we got to win this game because we got to get the number 1 seed. And I think they are playing loose and free, and whatever it takes to win the game, that's how they're going to do it, and they're okay with that.
Yeah, I think part of that is the youthful exuberance of this Broncos team, and not just Bo Nix. I mean, you got a bunch of young cats.
Yeah,
really. You know, Nix and R.J. Harvey and Troy Franklin's in his second year.
I wanted to show you this picture as you're talking about that. That's what I love. That's what you love to see.
It reminded me of
there.
me and you.
Exactly.
Yeah, me and you. After every one of these shows, we sort of get together with everybody and we do our little. I mean, you need to take a rhythm pill, but we do this thing in the end zone. Yeah, but that's what I mean. And they're developing. They're developing what I call team swag, right? I mean, individual players have their own kind of way of celebrating. That's what you see after a guy scores a touchdown. But now they're bringing more guys into this, and more guys are getting involved. And you and I have talked about this. It's just a hell of a lot more fun to win week after week after week in the NFL, as opposed to the drudgery of going in. Even though you're making good money, you're going in and you're getting your brakes beat off every week. So these guys, I think, appreciate that. I mean, they're doing something that, it puts them in rarefied air in terms of this season, 11 straight wins. I mean, those type winning streaks in the NFL just don't happen too much.
Yeah, they don't happen in the NFL, and Justin and I were talking about it. I don't think I've ever been on a team, except when I was 8 years old, that won 10 games in a row.
Tackle. You were playing offensive tackle. You were a patch player when you were 8 years old. I know you were.
Yep. Nope.
I was.
Were you? You were playing offensive line?
Yeah. Well, because you had to weight. I think I weighed 115 pounds, and the weight thing was like 108. I wasn't about to lose 7 pounds. I mean, that was pancakes in the weekend for me.
Well, they're winning these games. It's great to see. We have to dive into this receiver room because that was their best game as a core. You got Courtland, 7 catches for 113 yards. Troy Franklin, 6 for 6 on his targets and 85 yards and a touchdown. Little Jordan, 3 catches for 42 yards. Marvin Mims, 4 catches for 29 yards. Bandy gets into the end zone on his 1 target and 1 catch.
First NFL touchdown.
That's so incredible for somebody like that who's had to fight to get on the roster, to have that opportunity. And don't get me wrong, it means something to score a touchdown in the NFL. But when you score a touchdown in a game in late December and your team is the number 1 team in the NFL in terms of record, and you get a chance to contribute to something like that, that means so much more.
You remember your first NFL touchdown?
Yeah, Thursday Night Football against the Chargers. We were running a play called Pay Dirt, and I was running the shallow, but we didn't win that game.
So you remember it a little bit.
Yeah. Don't you remember? You remember a lot of your touchdowns, don't you?
You know what? I remember my first touchdown was against the Steelers, and was a diving catch in a hard-ass end zone in Cleveland, like brick hard, and I was able to catch it just on the tip of my finger. But
first college touchdown?
First college touchdown was in Madison, Wisconsin, on a toss pass to, let's see if you remember this name. You remember a receiver who played for the L.A. Rams by the name of Billy Waddy?
Mm-mm.
How old are you?
34.
Oh, hell. Billy Waddy was a running back at CU, then played receiver, really good player out of Bull Lake, Texas. Threw me a toss pass. But, the point of it is you remember where was your first touchdown at Michigan State?
My first and last touchdown at Michigan State.
You only got 1 touchdown?
Mm-mm.
You know what?
No, my first touchdown, 42 power week sweep against Northwestern. And then my last touchdown, reverse.
Oh, reverse,
and then last touchdown in the same end zone 3 years later against Northwestern, Dancer. It was on SportsCenter Top 10. I ran one-handed catch for 90 yards.
Nice.
Yeah, so
I'm going to have to go back on YouTube.
Yeah, never forget it. But shout out to Michael Bandy. But let's go to the receiver room. I think Courtland Sutton is getting ready to get his second Pro Bowl nod. I think right now he's definitely the best receiver in this division, top 2 receiver in the AFC. But I think, and I've been on the record saying this just the last couple of days, this is his most complete season. And this is the most complete I've ever seen him play as a receiver. He's always had the big play ability, but his routes this year and then what he's doing at the line of scrimmage, that's a hard thing to develop late in your career, just the ability to release like that. And he is creating so much separation. What have you just seen from Courtland?
Well, I agree with everything you said. He's so dependable. And I think Bo's done a nice job of realizing when he's isolated, on his touchdown catch into the south end zone, the quick fade route. I have no idea. I mean, I think it was Nixon, the corner. He's playing 1 free, right? He's got outside shade on Courtland, and Courtland gives him a move and a stick inside, and he jumps all the way inside. The safety, you can tell, the safety is not going to be a factor in over-the-top help. And I think when they motioned little Jordan Humphrey, and I looked out there and I saw Courtland on Nixon, and I said during the broadcast, I said, Bo's got Courtland singled up if he wants him, and then the ball was snapped and he threw it to Courtland. But again, these are the little things that like in the league, and credit to Bo and Courtland. Bo, that was a perfect throw. Courtland, really nice catch. But these are the little things that good teams don't do if they want to become great teams. I mean, you've got you've got cover one free. The corner has outside leverage on Courtland, which means under no circumstances can Courtland get an outside release. And Courtland just sticks him inside. Nixon crosses his feet, and it's like pitch and catch.
Yep.
So, yeah, but I agree with you. I think Court's having an excellent season, his second 100-yard receiving game of the season. I love the fact that on 4th down and 2.5 late in that game, instead of something controlled, they dialed it up and ran the fade route again. Made a heck of a catch
Which
on
is
a great
ballsy
throw.
to do on fourth.
Oh,
on
man.
4th and 2, you're thinking a mesh concept or something short to
Yeah.
run it and throw a fade.
Yeah.
Which is already a lower percentage throw.
That thing was right on the money.
On the money.
And it Court, really nice catch.
Court on the double move, the out and up was great. So yeah, I mean Court was doing it down the field, intermediate passing game.
That was a big play, by the way. The 4 verts on the out and up, and Bo hit that thing again. I'm not sure what they're doing coverage wise, but Bo hit that thing against. It almost looked like it was cover 2, but I went back and looked at it. That was cover 1.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get beat on an out and up like at 6 yards, but that's Green Bay's problem, not ours.
Yeah, I think Sean got exactly what he wanted on a lot of those plays yesterday, and you bring up a really good point. Yeah, it was pitch and catch on the touchdown to Courtland, but if people go back and you watch that play, little Jordan Humphrey goes in motion, but you have Courtland, you have the ball on the left hash,
Yep.
and you give Courtland all of that play. You don't think fade right there. You don't think that. Like, I'm going to throw this fade to the field with Courtland outside the numbers, and then, they got the matchup that they wanted, and Bo, makes a great throw. Shout out to also Troy Franklin, 6 for 6. His play time had diminished over the last couple of weeks, but then comes back with Pat Bryant being out. What did you think of Troy's game yesterday? My favorite route from him was the comeback, how he got into the blind spot of the defender. So Troy was running a 20-yard comeback for
In front of the Packers bench.
Yeah, and that's a veteran. That was a veteran route to me in terms of, number one, getting your depth. I was never a great receiver. I always get my depth. I was always shorting things up because I wanted the ball, and that didn't work out with my coaches. They did not like that. But Troy got all his depth, got into the blind spot of the defender, and then him and Bo were on the same page. What did you see from him yesterday?
Caught the ball with confidence. Again, we know he can run. We know he's dangerous after the catch. And we know that Bo really likes to throw Troy the ball. But I thought he caught the ball with confidence. The touchdown catch after he came in motion and ran, I'm not sure what they call it, but the deep dig after the middle of the field was cleared out. Excellent throw by Bo. Touched it over the second-line defender, and Troy went up, caught that ball above his helmet with 2 hands. A lot of speed receivers want to try to go up and body that ball. And I was never – you have some receiver coaches that'll tell you, don't ever let the ball get to your body. And I never, ever believe that. I think there are times where you're better off catching that ball in your body, especially when you're coming across the middle of the field. But in that particular case, Troy went up and caught that ball just above his helmet. And that was, another big play, and it shows you the confidence that Bo Nix has with him.
Yeah, and I think this makes the Broncos very hard to be beat and to defend because Bo doesn't have a target that he locks onto. You got 4 receivers. You have 4 passing touchdowns. He throws it to a whole bunch of different receivers. So if you do go into the playoffs and you game plan, which obviously they're going to try to take Courtland away, but then you have a guy like Evan Ingram, you have Troy Franklin, you got Pat Bryant, little Jordan Humphrey, and Marvin Mims. Their ability and Bo's ability to spread the ball around and to find the open receiver on these plays is why this team can win the Super Bowl.
Here's what would worry me if I were a defensive coordinator coming in at some point, Jacksonville, whatever, then you get in the playoffs, big games, winner goes on, loser goes home. When you're looking at this offense, and I think it sort of points to your last point, he throws it to anybody, but Bo has developed now, my sense is that he'll throw it anywhere on the field at any time. Those guys are dangerous, right? Because defensive coaches look at personnel and splits of receivers and what a guy likes. And with certain things we do on defense, we can take away this and that. He won't, whoever the quarterback is, he won't throw that if we get in this based on what we've seen. And now, in the last 4 weeks, all that's out the window, right? I mean, this kid will throw it anywhere on the field at any time. Now, is he going to make a mistake or two? Probably. He didn't yesterday, but probably.
Yep.
But I think, again, that's part of the backyard beauty that the Broncos have to, and Sean Payton in particular, has to sort of figure out, how do I wrap my arms around that, embrace it to a point, allow Bo to be that guy to a point, because it's going to cause nightmares, I think, for defensive coordinators.
Is there anything that you would like to see that the Broncos could improve on just in these next 3 weeks, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams?
I think the running game has gotten better. I was really worried about when J.K. Dobbins went out. I still would love to see J.K. Dobbins healthy. I think R.J. Harvey has showed some signs. They ran it, I thought, at times effectively yesterday. Anything to improve. I mean, you can always obviously find things to improve on, but I would just say continuing to work on the offensive efficiency. I thought yesterday was maybe a step and a half in the right direction in terms of them really being a problem. I mean, they're going to be, I'm not saying anything that people don't know. They're going to be a real problem for anybody in the AFC to come in here and find a way to beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're a problem.
Yeah, 100%. Green Bay looked tired yesterday.
I thought in the second half in particular.
Yeah, they looked tired. And I thought the Broncos they were just getting a second win, and it's almost like, all right.
Everybody, I've talked about this before on the show. I love Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell after a win. I love Taco Bell after a late night. And Taco Bell is the absolute best at menu innovation, and they have done it again for a limited time. Taco Bell is serving up a steak and roasted poblano rolled quesadilla. This is a twist on a classic with premium ingredients to elevate your Taco Bell experience. And as the college football season winds down, you only have 1 week left to pick up a Buffs box, the best value in food. So grab this $7 box filled with 4 Taco Bell classics and a player collectible cup. Live Mas at Taco Bell. Whether you're just conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world, there's a Toyota truck that's just right for you, like the 2025 Tacoma and the return of the iconic 2025 Land Cruiser. Toyota offers 17 models with available all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, like the epic 4Runner. Toyota also currently offers more low and zero-emission vehicles combined than any other automaker, to give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. There are 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Toyota iForce Max hybrid truck. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe in Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
Got a question from some of the fans. Why are Bo Nix's expectations in the media higher than any other QB? Did I miss something in his career in the NFL or college to make him unlikable?
I don't think he's unlikable.
I don't either. I think some of the play early on this year is why. Now, I won't even say some of the play. I would say Sean Payton's and what he said in the media before the season started kind of ruffled some feathers, saying Bo's a top 4, top 5 quarterback, and this is one of the teams where I feel like out of all the teams I coach, this is one of those 6 or 7 teams that I feel can win the Super Bowl. And before they had played any games,
he raised the expectations.
And then the expectations, now everybody is looking at Bo and the way he plays with the fine-tooth comb, and anytime he messed up or wasn't playing great, that is why the expectations and everybody was just, nitpicking, is because of what Sean had said in those press conferences. But Sean has the ultimate confidence in Bo. and also his team and himself in terms of his play calling. And you're starting to see Bo play at that elite level. So I wouldn't say Bo is unlikable. I actually think he's very likable.
I do too.
Yeah. Where do you guys think Bo has improved the most over the course of the season? I would say just based off of what we've seen the last 3 to 4 weeks, I think he's taken what the defense gives him. I think he's playing more free. I think he's been really accurate with the ball. I think he's improved in a lot of different categories. But I would say, his touch with the ball down the field as well. That was a concern really the first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah, I thought his touch on deep throws was really good. He's a really confident guy. I thought his confidence showed yesterday. Now, when you have a quarterback that believes they can make every single throw, you want that, but you also, I think, want to try to modify it a little bit. There were a couple of throws that I'm sure when he looks at the film, either last night or today, he's probably going to say, eesh, probably don't want to make that throw, right? Yeah. So how do you work on that and not take away his confidence that allows him to make all the other throws? My point of it is, I think if we're going to live with him at his best, which is kind of turning him loose at times to a degree, then we're also going to have to live with the occasional throw where everybody holds their head and says, oh, no. Now, they got away with a couple yesterday.
Yep.
And I'm just telling you, there's probably going to be a couple in the next 2 or 3 games. There might be a couple in the playoffs. But that's sort of how backyard football, again, that's sort of how that works. And that doesn't mean all the things that I qualified earlier, that doesn't mean he's not a pocket guy. He can't win from the pocket. He processes. He's not just out there drawing stuff up in the dirt and making stuff up and trying to bounce it off the top of the roof to the receiver. He's not doing that. But there is a beauty to his game that encompasses a little bit of that backyard football.
Yeah, and you have to love that, and you got to be okay with it. So I'm okay with Bo making those types of plays. It's that element that we've seen, I believe, the last couple of Super Bowl winners have. And the people who have gotten to the Super Bowl, you kind of live with those plays. You live with the Josh Allen making those types of plays, the Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, They might put the ball in harm's way, but you can live with that just based off of their dynamic to extend the play and make plays. When do you guys think players on this team started believing they could win a Super Bowl? Was it any specific win? I would say for me, I think these guys started to really believe. I think they've had a belief throughout the entire season, but I think that one win against Kansas City, and Kansas City, that was a must-have for Kansas City. They needed to come in here and win to stay alive and to somewhat almost, still have a chance to win the division, and to win that game, to win a close game against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, a battle-tested team, is when this team was like, all right, yep, we're here now.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Kansas City win was big for their confidence. And I'll say yesterday's win against the Packers, there weren't many people that either don't cover the Broncos or root for them. But in terms of just national perspective, people that watch football, that are football people, there weren't a lot of those people picking the Broncos to win yesterday. And when it was 23-14 Packers in the third quarter, that thing could have gone south pretty quickly. But this team has showed a resilience and a mental toughness that I think will serve them, has served them, and will continue to serve them well as they advance the last 3 regular season games into the playoffs, where they just don't ever think they're out of a game. They just, you just can't kill them. Riley Moss made that comment to us on the radio after the game yesterday. We're hard to kill.
Yeah.
So, and that is such a powerful thing to believe as a player and or as a team. Doesn't matter what the score is. We're going to find a way to get back in this game. And, they have proven that time and time and time again, and I think it serves them well.
It does. I know this is looking ahead, but do you think Sean will look to run up the score on the Chiefs on Christmas with no Mahomes?
Yeah,
No, I don't think that. I don't think Sean. This isn't college. I don't think running up the score would do anything.
No. What happens? What happens if the Broncos beat Jacksonville and New England would lose this week?
Yep. I think Broncos clinch the 1 seed.
I think they do as well. So the point of that is, would you rest guys in the last 2 games of the season? Now, the Chargers are still 2 games behind. So theoretically, I'd have to go look at the tiebreaker. If the Chargers would wind up tying the Broncos, who owns the tiebreaker in that matchup? But to the texter's question, no. I think if there's something to play for, then I think the Broncos go out and try to win the game.
Yeah, they're going to try to win the game. I don't think they're going to be like, because the Chiefs are down and out right now, we want to run it up 57 to whatever. I don't think the NFL is just not coached like that to embarrass other teams. You're going to go out there and you're going to try to win the game. And if you win it, 38-0, you're not going to be like, all right, we're going to start throwing touchdowns and, trying to embarrass them. It just, the league just doesn't work like that. I think if you handle business this weekend, New England loses, I would rest on Thursday and then play the Chargers. I'm bringing everybody out on Sunday because on that game against the Chargers on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Short week Thursday games. I don't like that. I think you're prone to injuries just based off of the short turnaround. It's on Christmas, so I would rest on that Thursday if we got the 1 seed locked up, and then play against the Chargers on Sunday. I'm just not a big believer. I'm just super cautious of the teams. I've played on 3 teams where we've had byes, and we did not play well coming out of the gate in the playoffs. 2 teams here, and then 1 in New Orleans with Sean.
Yeah, I played on a team that had a bye, and we didn't play well either. So I think there's a real balance. We'll talk about it in the next 3 weeks, but I think there's a real balance. You do want to get your guys rested, and if you've got guys that are nicked up a little bit, and I'm sure they do, every team does, you want to get them some downtime. How do you manage it to where you might want to rest 2 or 3 guys, but there's 3 or 4 other guys. I mean, they don't have enough guys in the roster.
Yeah.
They can just rest everybody.
Right, exactly.
Right? I mean, the offensive linemen are going to have to play because they don't have enough offensive linemen if they don't play.
You rest McGlinchey and Bowles.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
It's going to be interesting to see, but the Broncos, that's a great position to be in when you can talk about things like this. It's very different than the last, I would say, decade here for Broncos country. Any of the teams that you're looking at in the NFL, just as we wind down here, that pose the biggest threat to the Broncos in the playoffs? Obviously, Broncos are working towards that number 1 seed, home field advantage, so the playoffs will run through Denver and Mile High, and it's going to be electric. But who poses the biggest threat to you?
In the AFC?
In the AFC.
Well, I would say, Kansas City's not going to be in the playoffs. Mahomes, of course, with the torn ACL.
Sad to see.
Yeah, I hated to see that too. Probably Buffalo. I think Buffalo. Now, I think the Broncos could and would beat the Bills playing that game in Denver. But anytime you play against Josh Allen, he's one of those 3 or 4 different cats at quarterback.
Yeah. That
you can play really, really well and do everything right, and all of a sudden here he is running around, making a play and jumping over a guy and running through a guy. And so I think that would be an interesting matchup. I think I don't know that the Bills defensively are as good as they've been. I'm anxious to see also who comes out of the AFC North. Is it going to be Pittsburgh? Is it going to be Baltimore? Baltimore's had a little bit of a resurrection.
Yeah. They still don't look good, though. I think
something's wrong with Lamar. I just can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, he doesn't look the same. It's going to be interesting to see. But, yeah, Broncos got Jaguars coming up. Tim Patrick coming back.
Great to see him.
Love to see Tim, and good to see him doing well and on a good team. I always feel bad for players who leave and, got their start here, and it was during losing times, go to a really bad team, but at least he's on a good team. He was on Detroit last year and did well there, and then now Jacksonville's doing decent and he's contributing there. But
it's going to be good to see him come back and play. How do you think this matchup fares for the Broncos? I wouldn't say this is a trap game, but you don't want this to be. Look, Jacksonville is fighting for not necessarily their playoff lives, but they want to win the division. But the Broncos, the Packers game was a lot. That was Romo and Nance and Tracy Wilson and. Green Bay is a great team. Can the Broncos really do it? I think the Broncos are going to be favored in this one. How do you see it playing out?
I think the Broncos are like a 2.5-point favorite.
Yep.
I agree. I think anytime, the Packers, as you said, had the top CBS crew and big game and, NFC, AFC matchup and is this a Super Bowl preview and all that stuff during the week. And they win in semi-dramatic fashion, come from behind. You always worry a little bit about the team just taking a breath or two and sort of relaxing during the week. And you want them to get rested, but you also want their attention in terms of the preparation. And coaches can have the best intention and they can say all the right things. And in terms of how they prepare the team, it boils down to what sort of character you have in the locker room.
Yeah.
It's the players. And I think these guys are smart enough to understand what's at stake. So I don't think there'll be any sort of letdown from the Broncos standpoint. I think Jacksonville's pretty good. I think their defense is pretty good. Trevor Lawrence is having a good year. So, Denver's going to have to go out and play well. I expect and suspect that they will. But this will not be a game that they can just sort of show up and expect to win.
Yeah, no, and they're coming to play. Young team. I could never really get my mind around Trevor Lawrence and
You just don't like his hair?
I was just, they talked about him being one of the best prospects.
Can you imagine if you wore hair like that?
I'd look good. I would look good.
Bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think black dudes look good with the flowing.
Rick James.
Flowing. Rick James. Okay.
I think
little super freak.
The Trevor Lawrence being, they call him the best prospect ever since Peyton and this and that. It just his career hasn't shown up. But then you have moments where he does look incredible, and it's how does he come in here and play, and how do they approach this game, because it's an AFC battle. This is a team that you could see again.
Oh yeah.
How does Sean? Where's the cat and mouse game in terms of play calls and putting things out there against a team that you could play against?
Yeah, he's a guy that holds the ball. So I think from a pass rush standpoint, the Broncos have to feel pretty good about the opportunity coming in on Sunday. And, you're right. They could easily see Jacksonville again. If Jacksonville holds on and wins the South, they're going to get a home playoff game. But should they win that game, and again, we don't have all the numbers and all the seedings yet, but it's possible they could turn right back around and come out to Denver. So, yeah, interesting from Sean's standpoint, from Vance's standpoint. What do we show them? I think you got to go out and do everything you can to win the game, and then if you play them again, you go back and look at that first game and see what you called, and how can we camouflage this, and do we want to do something different in this situation? But that's that's the beauty of coaching, sort of the chess match involved with other staffs and players.
It's going to be good to see, and I think, as the playoffs continue to get here, the Broncos do have the best coaching staff in the AFC to make that Super Bowl run. Coaching staff that can adapt, adjust, call great plays, dial up things, get their players in the best position for them to be successful. So it's going to be great to see. Dave, man, good to have you back.
Good seeing you, Benny.
And looking forward to the rest of this season in the playoffs.
Me too.
Thanks, guys.
We all silly like the mayor.